Right friends, welcome back to main events. This is 16th week from 18th April to 24th April, and what are the highlights? Water crisis in central parts of India, and water trains are being run from Meerut to Latur in Maharashtra, and we are going to discuss about what are the permanent measures required to be taken by the governments of the day. Over 1 crore have given up LPG subsidy voluntarily. To be specific, 1.13 crore people have given up in response to the call given by the Prime Minister. Then President's rule in Uttarakhand, strictures on central government by Uttarakhand High Court at Nainital. Then if you look at the events around the world, United States of America, Saudi Arabia, 70 years of relations are in trouble. Then India ratifies a trade facilitation agreement of World Trade Organization. Then customs rules and procedures will be easier from now onwards. G20 calls for crackdown on tax havens. After Panama leaks, probably it appears G20 is giving more emphasis on this tax avoidance with the help of this tax havens. Then 175 countries, to be specific 174 countries, and the European Union signed historic Paris Agreement. Let us look at the events in detail. The first and the foremost problem is water crisis in central parts of the country. All of you are well aware, water is being carried by trains from Meerut to Latur in Maharashtra, and there are news reports that because of hard water from bore wells, kidney stones and urinary tract infections are on the rise in Latur. And don't forget, water is a state subject, and when the river is interstate, then Parliament can make laws on that. So what I mean to convey is, though water is a state subject, but when it comes to the interstate rivers, Parliament or the central government has got upper hand. And if you look at the ground reality in the country, 80% of water in India goes for irrigation purposes. Then second important point is over exploitation of groundwater is another problem without regulation in this country. And another important aspect is, in our country, tilt is there towards water consuming crops like sugar cane, rice, and not only that, over utilization of water is also evident everywhere. Farmers have got a tendency to use water more than required. Sometimes it is proving counterproductive. Then free power in some states, subsidized power in some states is compounding the problem. Then water harvesting, water conservation, they have not given much desired results till date. Then watershed development, sometimes taken up through Mahatma Gandhi Narega, is also not up to the mark. Then if you look at other important aspects, or you can say ground realities, we concentrated on big dams and canals, but literally neglected tanks and other small water bodies. Then practices of water efficiency are basically not known to the farmers in this country. Then Rajasthan, Haryana, Punjab aquifer towards the northwestern part of the country is one of the highest rates of groundwater depletion in the world. Then floods and droughts are becoming more common and frequent. Then drip irrigation and sprinkler irrigation are almost insignificant in this country. So these are the ground realities. And if we seriously analyze what went wrong with the central government and state governments in recent times, for the past 1 or 2 years, what went wrong with the governments? First and foremost is 2 successive years of drought, 2014 and 2015, 2 successive years of drought with the deficiency of rainfall up to 12% and 14%, but the governments have failed to identify the impending problem. Second one is governments appear to have not given thought to the lives and livelihoods in a rural hinterland in spite of 2 successive droughts in the country. And now the central parts of the country is facing a serious crisis, a serious water problem. Several people are suffering because of no drinking water. Then it is not understood why the center has not taken steps to give impetus to Mahatma Gandhi Narega scheme after 2 successive years of drought. The irony is, by March 31, 2016, rupees 12,000 crores of dues were pending for Mahatma Gandhi Narega. And this is the irony, after 2 successive years of drought, central government failed to gauge the situation because Mahatma Gandhi Narega is touted to be the biggest social security mechanism in times of drought, right? Then fourth one is every month agricultural drought assessment report is being released for major states by Mahalanobis National Crop Forecast Center, and it is not understood why the governments have not acted in advance based on these reports. And Disaster Management Act 2005 gives special powers and responsibilities to the central government, and in fact National Disaster Management Authority is headed by the Prime Minister. But till date, there is no disaster management policy. The next point is the central government and state governments even did not have the correct figures with regard to the people affected by drought, and it shows a lack of proper policy perspective in this regard. Right? If you look at the water conservation or water harvesting aspects of Israel, Israel is the role model. With the water recycling rate of 85%, it is the world's #1 water recycler, and Spain is a distant second at 12%. So 85% of the water being used is recycled in Israel. Then drip irrigation, invented by Israel, helps achieve 70 to 80% of water efficiency in agriculture, which is also the highest in the world. Israel has achieved the highest ratio in the world if one looks at crop yield per unit of water. Then Israel's total water consumption remained the same since 1960s despite growing population and raising water requirements. And the water efficiency or efficient use of water, one should learn from Israel, right? And if you look at the permanent measures required to be taken by our government, not only the central government but also the state governments have to take permanent measures to mitigate the effects of a drought, which became quite common in recent times and which may further worsen the situation in future because of climate change, which is occurring very fast. Revive water bodies like tanks, lakes and wetlands in a mission mode. After independence, we have given some thought to big reservoirs, dams, but tanks, lakes and wetlands were neglected, and it is time to revive these water bodies in a mission mode and provide recharge wells in these water bodies so as to replenish the aquifers. This is to be taken up on mission mode. Second, give highest priority to interlinking of rivers after scientific analysis. Please do not undertake this without scientific analysis, because there should be surplus water for shifting to other basins. After analyzing scientifically, then only take up this interlinking of rivers. Give emphasis on water conservation and water efficiency, and Israel is the role model in this regard. Then make water harvesting mandatory in both urban and rural areas. Then don't give permissions for any constructions without water harvesting. Then find high-tech solutions with remote sensing. That is the need of the hour. Now it is possible to determine depleting soil moisture as well as the underground water. Hence, droughts can be better managed with the available technologies. Then another important aspect which the politicians should learn is free or subsidized power is leading to over exploitation of groundwater, and this aspect is to be given serious thought by the governments. Then farmers should be suggested with crops suitable for their agroclimatic regions. Then modern agricultural practices with efficient use of water in agriculture is the need of the hour. So these are the measures suggested, and government, both the central government and state governments should act with utmost concern. Otherwise, these type of situations may recur in future. Look at the next one. Over 1 crore have given up LPG subsidy voluntarily. The Prime Minister almost a year ago gave call for giving up LPG subsidy voluntarily, and in response to the call given by the Prime Minister, till date 1.13 crore LPG subscribers have given up subsidy voluntarily, and at present we have around 16 crore LPG connections and 1.13 crore have voluntarily given up. Then this is the achievement in little over a year, and government wants to use this money saved to give subsidized LPG connections to 5 crore BPL families during the next 3 years. That is Pradhan Mantri Ujjwal Yojana. Government rolled out on 1st May under Pradhan Mantri Ujjwal Yojana. During the next 3 years, by spending rupees 8,000 crores of rupees, government will give subsidized LPG connection to 5 crore BPL families during the next 3 years. Right, and 5 states, Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Delhi, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu have contributed to 50% of those who have given up LPG subsidy. And government is also planning to roll out direct benefit transfer for kerosene during 2016-17. States will be given fiscal incentives initially to motivate the states to join the scheme. But anyhow, this is the right initiative from the Prime Minister, because more than 1 crore people have given up a subsidy voluntarily. Then President's rule in Uttarakhand, and I would like to tell you we are going to discuss about Article 356 in news analysis of 17th week. I am not concentrating here much. Brief history of Uttarakhand. Uttarakhand was formed on 9th November 2000. It is 27th state of India. Governor is K.K. Pal, and it is often referred to as Char Dham, and Badrinath, Kedarnath, Gangotri, Yamunotri are situated here, and the capital is Dehradun, and judiciary headquarters is Nainital. And here under Article 356, President's rule was imposed. Then High Court quashed it, then the centre approached Supreme Court, and we are going to deliberate about Article 356 during 17th week news analysis. And Article 356, the President's rule can be imposed in a state if there is failure on the part of the state government to act in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution, or you can say breakdown of constitutional machinery or constitutional impasse in the state. And as per Article 356(3), proclamation imposing President's rule shall be laid before each House of Parliament, and it should be ratified within 2 months. These are constitutional provisions and observations of Uttarakhand High Court at Nainital. The strictures passed by Uttarakhand High Court on centre I listed out here. In the words of High Court, the issue is to be viewed on a larger canvas of democracy, federalism and rule of law. President's rule is contrary to the law laid down by the Supreme Court. Then the decision taken at the highest level was not done with due care. It was a blatant falsehood committed by the centre. So these are the strictures by the High Court on centre, right? So let us leave this topic at this juncture. Anyhow, we are going to discuss in news analysis next week. Right friends, let us look at the events around the world. USA, Saudi Arabia, 70 years of relations in trouble. There are several contradictions between United States of America and Saudi Arabia. United States of America is known for democratic governance, more emphasis on human rights. It is an open society. If you look at Saudi Arabia, it is authoritative governance, conservative society, closed society, known for poor human rights, known for several executions. But these two countries have made strange bedfellows for the past 70 years. What are the reasons? I listed out 4 reasons why they made strange bedfellows for the past 70 years is, first and foremost is dependence of USA on Gulf oil. Second one is a relationship with Saudi Arabia and its Gulf neighbors was thought essential during the era of Soviet Union. Third one is for enhancing defense capabilities, United States of America's assistance was needed by Saudi Arabia. Then for United States of America's intervention in several Gulf or Middle East countries, support of Saudi bloc was felt necessary. So these are the main reasons why USA and Saudi Arabia were close friends for the past 70 years, and in spite of ideological differences, both the countries maintained a strong partnership for the past 70 years, but the present scenario is changing fast. I listed out 4 reasons why the relations between United States of America and Saudi Arabia strained in recent times. First and foremost is United States of America started extracting oil from shale deposits, and United States of America's oil production almost doubled during the past 5 to 6 years. Now its dependence on Gulf oil reduced substantially. Now America is no more dependent on Gulf oil because its production itself doubled during the past 5-6 years. Then Saudi Arabia was not happy when Iran nuclear deal was signed. All of you are well aware, Saudi Arabia and Iran are arch rivals. One is the head of Sunni group of countries, the other one is the head of Shia group of countries. When the Western world signed Iran nuclear deal, Saudi Arabia was the most unhappy country. Now full diplomatic relations between Iran and USA are yet to be established, but now United States of America realized that both Saudi Arabia and Iran are to be the key players to ensure peace in West Asia. In the complex geopolitics of West Asia, now United States of America felt that it is not possible to ensure peace by antagonizing one particular group of countries and by supporting one particular group of countries. Now United States of America realized lately, and now United States of America wants to maintain cordial relations with both the bloc of countries so as to ensure peace in West Asia. President Obama declined to bomb Syria. Saudi Arabia wants United States of America to pressurize Bashar al-Assad to go. If required, bombing Syria, the intention of Saudi Arabia is to send Bashar al-Assad from power, and United States of America declined to bomb Syria to topple Assad's regime because United States of America felt that destabilizing Syria may strengthen Islamic State. And around 4-5 years back, when mass protests arose in Egypt, United States of America refused to protect the regime of Hosni Mubarak, Egyptian dictator who ruled that country for around 30 years. Right? Because of these things, the relations between United States of America and Saudi Arabia strained in recent times. And when United States of America President recently visited Saudi Arabia, he was received by the local governor but not by the king. it shows the wedge between United States of America and Saudi Arabia. But there is a shift in United States of America's policy, and they want to maintain close relations not only with Saudi Arabia but to some extent with Iran also, because the support of both the blocs is essential. Now, after several years, the United States of America realized that the two groups are essential to ensure peace in complex geopolitics of Gulf region, or you can say Middle East region. Right friends, look into the next event. That is economy and banking. India ratifies a trade facilitation agreement, and this trade facilitation agreement will come into force once 2/3 of WTO members have completed their domestic ratification process. Now, India is the 76th country to ratify domestically, and this instrument of acceptance of trade facilitation agreement was handed over to Director General of World Trade Organization. And you may ask, what is the advantage of this trade facilitation agreement? The advantage or importance of trade facilitation agreement lies in lower trade costs, improved trade flows, faster customs clearances, more foreign trade, and it is in tune with ease of doing business in this country. Right friends, G20 calls for crackdown on tax havens. G20 meeting was held on the sidelines of annual spring meeting of International Monetary Fund and the World Bank in Washington. Recently, to attend annual spring meeting of International Monetary Fund and World Bank, our Minister for Finance Arun Jaitley and RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan were in Washington, and our Finance Minister participated in G20 countries meeting, and G20 countries called for crackdown on tax havens. We deliberated in detail about these tax havens when we discussed about Panama leaks, and G20 called for crackdown on tax havens because the tax havens are being used for avoidance of tax by multinational companies. Not only that, they are being used to conceal illicit money, right? And G20 also called upon the countries for full implementation of the Financial Action Task Force standards on transparency. All of you are well aware, Financial Action Task Force, the Paris-based organization, it is behind money laundering. That means to control black money across the world, because it is felt that black money is mainly responsible for terrorist financing. And at the same time, G20 also advised all the countries to sign multilateral convention for automatic exchange of information by 2017 or 2018. And don't forget this MCAA, India is a signatory, and from 2017 onwards we have to share information automatically, and G20 called upon various countries to sign this MCAA for automatic exchange of information, right? And also focused on the consolidated strategy on combating terrorist financing. Look at the last event, 174 countries and European Union, you can say 175 nations signed historic Paris Agreement. All of you are well aware, Paris Agreement in December 2015 called upon all the nations to limit global average temperature increase to 2 degrees centigrade, preferably to 1.5 degrees centigrade in comparison to pre-industrial levels. That means the temperatures are to be restricted to 2 degrees centigrade rise in comparison to pre-industrial levels, and the agreement was signed by 175 nations, and the agreement will come into force once 55 countries representing at least 55% of global emissions ratify it. and French President Francois Hollande was the first to sign, and the signing ceremony coincided with the World Earth Day, that is April 22. And Oscar award winning actor Leonardo DiCaprio addressed the world leaders, and our Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar signed on behalf of India. And in this connection, Secretary General of United Nations Ban Ki-moon stated that the world is in a race against time. INDCs, each and every country have given their INDCs, and let us hope that the countries will stick to their INDCs targets. Right friends, with this hope, let us conclude this week's lecture part, and please listen to news analysis. We deliberated on China and our neighbors. Please listen to SNT part. We deliberated on corals and coral bleaching. Right friends, have a nice day. Thank you.